My name is Jan Egeland. I'm the Director General of the Norwegian Institute of International Affairs. I have the honor to be your moderator for this day here in the wonderful town hall of Oslo.
International peace and trade are indeed global issues, and I'm pleased to welcome participants from all parts of the world.
As a Minister of Environment and International Development, I would say there is no other issue which is so close to my heart as the issue of business. For the very simple reason that there is no solution to climate change without business.
There is voluminous literature, most of it critical and some of it hypercritical, of the failure of resource-rich developing countries to manage the natural resources with which they are endowed effectively, transparently, and equitably for the benefit of their people.
Today, yes, we are rethinking business practices because of the global financial crisis. That's why I like this charter. You are reminding the world, as we fix that, and as we grow, as we become wealthy again, let's not go back to the whole habits of making the poor poorer.
To formulate new principles whereby we should all adhere, governments, industries, governments in the countries that have the resources, governments that are donors, governments that are hosts to extractive industries.
I can't think of a more appropriate place to launch the Natural Resource Charter than Oslo. No country does more than Norway to share its experience in managing its oil and gas wealth.
The issues, in broad terms, we all know. There are fantastic opportunities from resource wealth, but countries have failed on the whole, or countries have found it remarkably difficult to make good use of that resource wealth. When I think about that, I think there are two distinct sorts of reasons why countries have found it so difficult to make use of resource wealth well.
In the Growth Commission, we looked at countries that had done something quite extraordinary, and that is to grow at 7% or more a year. This is very high rates for a period on average of 25 years or more. It turns out in the history of the world, and it's all the post-war world, there are 13 countries that have done that. It is extremely hard to do. Botswana is one of them.
Nigeria is the classical example of a failure, a complete opposite of Botswana, not Sierra Leone, really. Nigeria is an example of a country that literally destroyed itself by these God-given natural resources.
Telegrama!
When business and trade work in conflict with human rights, they do not contribute to peace. Neither when trade and business is violating the climate. The same goes when business and trade is based on corruption, bribes, and forced labor. These are all forms of business which break down trust and cooperation instead of building it.
After experience, 30 years of very fast growth average of 9.7% of GDP growth rate, we in China also encountering tremendous challenges and difficulties. And these challenges is enabling us to make a thorough and comprehensive reflections about the modality of economic development as well as international trade.
World trade must be well organized and predictable in order to prevent social and economic shocks and upheaval. And secondly, organized trade must be free fair, and non-exploitative.
So one of the things I tell my business students is that a way to help steer a society away from violence and toward peace is if their businesses can provide a value added to the economic environment in that country.
2004 and through the first half of 2007, Citigroup earned $74 billion in profit. It's pretty impressive. However, from 2007 through the present, Citigroup lost $94 billion. That is the textbook case of unsustainable profit, which of course came out of their risky adventures in the derivatives and subprime markets.
The distance between the richest and the poorest has grown phenomenally. The seven richest individuals before the financial crisis were richer than the 20 poorest countries.
Today, the Oslo Business for Peace Award will be handed out for the first time. The initiative for the award comes from the Business for Peace Foundation, based here in Oslo. The aim of the award is to encourage people around the world to be conscious of the role they can play in business affairs to foster peace and stability.
Compared to just a decade ago, it is now common for business people to talk about social responsibility and the importance of being good corporate citizens.
The Business for Peace Foundation was initiated in 2007 in the belief that social responsible and ethical business initiatives are not merely window dressing, but will stand the test as a business case. In the hope that gradually, as the moral culture of corporations mature, ethical business practice will be as integrating to business as a solid handshake. Mr. Anders Dalvik. And Mr. Mo Ibrahim, Her Excellency Mrs. Jihad Ahmed. Mr. Jeff Immelt, Chief Executive of General Electric, United States. The diploma is being received on Mr. Immelt's behalf by Mr. Eystein Aspeløkken, Head of GE Nordic. And Mr. Muhammad Jamel, President of Abdul Latif Jamel Corporation, Saudi Arabia. And Mr. Jian Jianqing, Chairman of the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. And Mrs. Josephine Okut, founder of the Victoria Seeds, Uganda. And Mr. Xi Shengrong, founder and CEO of Suntech Power China, will be received on his behalf by the Chinese Embassy Counselor Xu Ping.
I have the honor, on behalf of my two other colleagues, to announce the 2009 and first Oslo Business Peace Award winner, Mr. Anders Dalvik. Get it up there. Nice. Yeah. Well done.
Oh, you want to speak too?
This is for me. We drop it.
I must say I'm honored and proud to be among such distinguished representatives of ethical business behavior. This is a tremendous recognition that you are giving me and above all IKEA.
Okay,